It's the first in a series of 3 models made by Bigbird back in 2001, but despite its age, it does pack a punch. With that, hello and welcome to a new episode of Review, where we today will take a closer look at a Boeing 737-200 of Ryanair. As mentioned, this box comprises of 3 models, but for today we will only take a look at one of them, and that will be the one in the white Ryanair livery. The box has the cutout in the front, so we can get a glimpse of the aircraft model inside, and then on the back side we find images featuring all 3 aircraft models in real life, and of course we also have the respective logos to that, so the Ryanair branding, the Hertz branding, and the Vodafone branding. And here she is, the Boeing 737-200 of Ryanair in the special white livery that was only applied to this single aircraft back in 1995 to celebrate the airline's 10th anniversary. A special shout out goes out to Model Airport Vienna, who very kindly helped me with the necessary information about the livery. A link to his Instagram page will be in the description below. But with no further ado, let us take a closer look at this aircraft model to see what it has to offer. And as always, we of course start off with the tail section, where we on the vertical stabilizer find the Ryanair branding. On the fuselage we then have the full registration code of the aircraft and what is supposed to be the Irish flag. I would however say that it much more resembles the Italian flag. At the very tail of the aircraft we then have a little bit of detailing around the APU exhaust, and if we then move on towards the front of the aircraft we can see across the fuselage the Ryanair branding. At the very front underneath the cabin door we then have indicated in the print this rectangle. That's basically where the stairs would come out that Ryanair very uniquely does carry on all their 737s. Then the cockpit section itself comprises of the window wipers and the cockpit section with this very lovely classic cockpit window configuration of the 737. Moving on to the engine nacelles, they have been kept in all white, just as most of the fuselage, but they do carry some very lovely markings and of course also the silver leading edge. Overall, the physical detailing I would say is actually quite alright, but of course if you look into the engines from the front that could be more detailed, but given how tiny the engines on the 732 actually are, I would say they've actually done a decent job with that. Then on the fuselage, just above the wings, we have the emergency exit printed on, and that leads us straight to the wings, which we should also take a closer look at. And if we start off with the top side, we can see the different flaps, slats and spoilers have been carved out, although that could have been a little bit more pronounced. We have some different shades of grey for additional detailing, and of course also the markings for the emergency exit. Very nice indeed. And the same goes for the underside of the wing, which I also think looks rather decent. My highlight on the wings, however, are the landing lights, which have been added on in the print. A tiny little printed detail that, however, does a lot to make the aircraft come alive. Also, a quick look at the landing gear reveals the nice work that Bigbird, in my opinion, has done with this aircraft model, as I think it looks really rather nice. Especially the front landing gear looks great. Here we even have some printed details as well. And yes, the model does not come with a stand, but it still has a hole in the fuselage for a stand, which is a little bit confusing in my opinion. But given that there are no printed details here that are being destroyed by it, I'm not a fan, but I don't really mind. And then last but not least, we do of course also have the doors to the cargo compartments printed on here in the backside of the aircraft, and here at the front of the aircraft. So there we have it, the Boeing 737-200 in the white Ryanair livery from Bigbird in scale 1 to 500. And what can we say about this aircraft model? The first thing I think we should address is the fact that this aircraft model is 20 years old, which is pretty damn impressive when you think about how many details they managed to put on this tiny little thing. But there are of course also a few things that I'm not that happy about, so let's quickly address those. While the print quality I think is really excellent and they have added a lot of small details, the blue coloring we have in the livery is too dark in my opinion, especially on the vertical stabilizer. And also the fact that we have an Irish flag that looks more like an Italian flag because the tone of what is supposed to be the orange stripe is too dark is maybe a little bit problematic. But other than that, it is a seriously impressive aircraft model, and I would say absolutely worth having in one's collection. Now with that we have reached the end of today's episode. If you have enjoyed this video, then don't forget to leave a like. That would be very much appreciated, and of course if you are new around here, why not hit subscribe? That would be absolutely awesome. With that, I'd like to say thank you so much for watching. To see you soon again. I'm checking out, and bye.